you understand how important globalization is to business. We can see the strategic implications for human resource management. The North American Free Trade Agreement and other important trade agreements have established greater zones for commerce, which has fostered business going global. This has had a tremendous impact on human resource management. It has brought forth a new level of competitiveness, especially around the cost of labor. At the same time, it has brought about new markets for organizations. Furthermore, we've seen mergers and acquisitions more frequently occurring across national boundaries. And beyond the cost effectiveness of labor in particular markets, there's also been a recognition of the challenges, but also the opportunities for sustained competitive advantage through managing human capital throughout the world. And technology plays a big part of this for human resource management because it facilitates communication, it facilitates basic functions like recruiting and selection and performance management. As we are doing this at a greater geographic span, having information technology is an essential asset for us performing these functions. Of course, when we get into this area of specialization, it's important that we get the language right. And so when we're talking about an international corporation, we're talking about one that exists to expand its operation into foreign markets. International corporations are centralized, and they focus on learning and sharing their core operations, and they export existing products and eventually open facilities in other countries. In international corporations, the main challenge for human resource management are understanding the legal systems and the culture in different countries. Now, a multinational corporation is a more complex international business operation that is more decentralized in a sense that it can be more locally responsive, and where local operations are more autonomous. Here, the key challenge for HR is hiring expatriates from other countries. Expatriates are hired by these corporations from other countries to help with staffing and management issues. Central to success of managing human resource in multinationals is overcoming the disadvantages of cultural barriers by emphasizing cross training of cultural and managerial skills. Now, the global corporation is a highly centralized, efficiency focused organization that integrates worldwide operations through a centralized home office. Global corporations meet the needs of differing customer groups worldwide by emphasizing flexibility and mass customization. These organizations tend to manage human resources through a multi country system where HR decisions are global and not national. And company management comprises people from all over the world, and people from a variety of cultures and backgrounds are included in decision making and planning. Now, the transnational corporation is described as something that is highly responsive at the local level. So there's a lot of HR focus at the local level, and yet there is also a focus on being efficient through learning and sharing of information. So, communication is key, and professional development is key within this type of organization. As the business environment has changed, many organizations have had to consider whether they should be going global. To do this successfully requires considerable planning and knowledge of how global companies operate. There has to be the establishment of offices overseas, and this involves understanding local culture, the differences in regulations, the competitive landscape, and the living conditions. Usually, there is a cost benefit analysis that is leading the way in the consideration of going global. And part of any cost benefit analysis should include HR issues. Of course, understanding the jobs and the talent pool is key to understanding whether those jobs can be performed successfully. There also has to be a thorough examination of technical issues, and that might include machines, tools, work equipment, all kinds of work aids, office equipment, internet access, things like that are really important also for how work gets done. But one of the most important considerations is going to be culture, and whether there are culture clashes at a very formalized level, perhaps what we consider privacy or what we consider equality. But there's also more subtle culture clashes that can have a big effect on whether going global is eventually successful. And so we should contribute to an understanding of culture, especially from the perspective of HR. There's many different legal issues that are likely to differ across different national countries, and privacy laws are a particular area that are different from country to country. For instance, we see privacy laws that are more strict in the European Union than they are in the United States. Of course, there are other, very practical issues like time zone differences and resources and their availability through the supply chain. As we mentioned before, cultural differences. A key area of competency we have to look at within an organization is whether people have cultural intelligence, whether there exists this global mindset, and whether it has been integrated to the level of strategy so that the necessary changes that are going to have to be made will be made, and that there's the requisite amount of flexibility to accommodate the differences that employees and customers are going to have in different geographic regions. A number of differences in human resource management between domestic enterprises and multinational enterprises, or MNEs. Multinational enterprises operate in multiple countries and therefore must have information on all of their labor markets. There's a terminology for different employees in multinational enterprises. Parent country nationals are from the country in which the corporate headquarters for the MNE is located. Host country nationals are from the country where the subsidiaries are located. And third country nationals are employees from countries other than the parent or host countries. With these different types of employee groups comes more complexity, with international human resource management. There are more HR activities and a need for a broader perspective. Sometimes it involves being more involved with the personal lives of employees because it's essential that they have the resources they need to survive. And that may be more of a factor in environments where there is more economic scarcity. There may be more danger, more risk exposure, and there may be changes that we really need to think about to tailor HR to particular contexts. The hiring and managing of expatriates is an important component of managing global HR, but increasingly we see that there is more of a mix of local and expatriate employees working together. So this presents itself a particular kind of diversity and inclusion scenario that we have to be prepared for. And again, may depend on the particular groups of employees based on the locale or where expatriate employees are coming from. Of course, this is going to present differences in background and cultural values, but oftentimes there's also diversity in terms of education and skills. So, training in issues like cultural differences and communication, both verbal and nonverbal, and specific skill sets for particular employees' jobs, that's all very important for HR in these contexts. And of course, the operations of HR are going to be influenced by the legal issues and the economic system. It's important to understand the cultural norms and how politics are conducted in the organizations because this often feeds into the legal system and the economic system which the organization has to operate.